Hi there, and welcome back to part 11 of the history of Fleetwood Mac singles. I'm Anita. Today we're going to delve right into Belladonna, a first solo venture in the 45s that I have shown you, other than Buckingham Nicks. But we've gone through a lot of Fleetwood Mac, and finally we're getting into Stevie Nicks, the first artist out of the Rumours lineup to embark on a solo endeavor. Belladonna came out July 27th, 1981, and from that album there were four singles, including Stop Dragging My Heart Around, which came out in July 8th, 1981, so just prior to the album being released. Leather and Lace, which came out October 6th, 1981, so right after the album was released. Edge of 17, February 5th, 1982, and After the Glitter Fades, April 30th, 1982. Stevie Nicks was able to record a lot of these songs during the Tusk session. She'd written a lot of items. She always likes to call herself the Mad Writer, so she had plenty of material. Some she had kept off the Tusk album, and other things, as I said, she was able to record during the Tusk sessions and in between on tour dates, tour stops, I should say. She was able to get in the studio. But when they were done, and during the whole time that the live album was being promoted and such, she really holed up and recorded Belladonna in a pretty quick and timely fashion. She was dating Jimmy Iovine at the time, who felt that when Belladonna came out, there was no single to be had. And after much discussion, she decided, or he decided, that Stop Dragging My Heart Around, the duet with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, was probably going to be about the best thing. I actually don't believe that she had already had that. I think she had had something else in mind, including possibly a song that was on this album, the heavy metal soundtrack, which was the Blue Lamp, was going to be included on Belladonna. But I don't know if she would have had that out as a single, but it did make, thank goodness, the heavy metal soundtrack. um, I'll definitely discuss more things like that, songs and alternate parts that were part of Belladonna when I go into the whole album. But it is just kind of interesting that the lead single from Belladonna is Stop Dragging My Heart Around. I always think of it as Edge of 17 because it's such a big hit for Stevie, as is Stop Dragging My Heart Around, but still. Um, I'm going to go right into it because I think that I can make this kind of a short video and kind of cover Stop Dragging My Heart Around and Leather and Lace, and then make a part two of Belladonna that is Edge of 17 and After the Glitter Fades. The reason I say that is because I'm showing you all the singles because I like to, and I just think it's interesting. But when it comes to Stop Dragging My Heart Around, you notice a pattern here? There's not much diversity. They pretty much picked one photo and called it a day. And that photo would be what we like to refer to, the Stevie fans, as the aeroplane pose, which is also used as a promo poster for Belladonna. So not just the cover of Belladonna was a promotional poster, but this was also used as a promotional poster. It was ironically one of the items that I thought I would ask Stevie Nicks to sign when I was able to meet her. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out. And then taking that beautiful poster that I had all the way down from Oregon to California, somehow got nicked right on her face. So my poster, I still have it, but it's, and if you hang it up, you couldn't see it from far away. But if you get close, somehow during that trip, there's just a slice right across her face, which really kind of bummed me out. I love this photo. It's just very Belladonna-like. And so, starting right off with the singles, the first one that I have here, again, I don't think it came with the cover. I think it just happens to have one, because that is a Stop Dragging My Heart Around, back to Stop Dragging My Heart Around. We still have the stereo, and in this case, we no longer have mono. We have stereo and stereo. It is the same time on both sides. Just making sure I'm correct. Indeed, I am. And yeah, just promotional copy, not for sale. And that's it. But it did come with a picture sleeve. Again, I don't think it was issued as such, but mine just happens to have a picture sleeve. Next up, we have the Canadian version, same cover. I actually don't have a plain American version that would have had that cover. I seem to go right into Canada, and Canadian version, modern records. So it's not quite as, you notice this is kind of the gray with the red, and the promo ones are gray with kind of a white writing on there. So Canada. Next up, we have the UK. There's literally nothing different on all of these sleeves. Some of the paper is different. Some of the hues are different, which is another point I'll bring up with the albums. There's a really interesting aspect to the fact that Belladonna is somewhere on the very, very blue side, whilst others are on the very purple side. And we don't know if that's Stevie fans don't know if that's a printing error or on purpose. So some people will actually collect there's kind of different hues. I'm one of those people. I just haven't found too many different hues, but for the 45s, they all stay relatively in the blue category. The only difference is some of the backgrounds. When you, of course, get out of the United States, we're not going to be on the WIA label. They all have this kind of pretty red, yellow, and green. Some will have the small little hole. Others will have the regular 45 size cut out. So UK. I have Discogs showing this as Australia, just by the catalog number. Nothing different on the back. Nope, not a thing. Everything's the same there. Holland. But Holland has the slightly bigger cutout. Italy. That's about the only difference. This is really neat. It's kind of I have a couple singles that are like this. It's like this hole punch. It's really kind of weird. It's not a promotional record, but I don't know. I don't know if that means something there. I could probably look it up. I also don't know which way it goes. Regardless, there are a few records, and if you took this out, well, it doesn't come through on the back. It does. I'm lying. But you could kind of see through it if I could get it out. But it's really not a big deal. So that's Italy. Then we have Germany. Same photo. Larger cutout hole. Spain. Spain, again, does not have that back like I've shown you in the past. It does have a small border and a very thick cardboard. A little white border in the front and back. But long gone is that kind of cross mark that I'd shown you in a lot of the Fleetwood Mac singles. Japan, maybe one of the few different ones here. Beautiful. Looks so lovely with the addition of the writing on the front. No photo on the back, just the lyrics, English and Japanese. In this instance, I do have the promotional one, which is the white label. And I also have the standard release. So, both issues of the Japanese. Something I found not too long ago. I say that, but not too long ago for me. I still think the 90s was about 10 years ago. So, when I say not too long ago, that could be last year or 30 years ago. Just keep that in mind. So, one of my otter, stranger little babies is this one from South Africa. Really nice, very clean. The only difference is this little addition here. And the vinyl has her name, a little different font. Such here. Just kind of stands out. Makes for a little difference. And a very strange record that I found. These you come across once in a while. It's really weird. I'm going to assume that they are all jukebox records, and that's why. I don't know if they're jukebox records issued to a particular jukebox at a particular concession, theaters, or what have you. I've got a couple though, and they have this red label, this little jukebox strip, I should say, and it is Stevie Nicks' "Stop Dragging My Heart Around" with the B-side of Christopher Cross Arthur's theme. And whatever ones that I picked up that include Stevie Nicks, Lindsay, or Fleetwood Mac always have a different B-side, another artist. But licensing, I guess, agrees or condones that, two different people, two different labels, whatever the case may be. Because, as you can see, Christopher Cross is on Warner Brothers, which is ironic, as is Fleetwood Mac, but I don't think that would have mattered. It's just something that they do. And this one here, the little strip says, like, TV or something like that. It's just kind of strange. But something I saw, and I thought, that's kind of different, so I picked that up. Goes with my little "Stop Dragging My Heart Around" pile. So, exciting, right? Same picture over and over and over again. Leather and lace, we have a small diversity. It's not much, but there's something. So leather and lace, starting off with this, is the USA version, the promotional one. So this is going to be the leather and lace, backed with leather and lace, USA promotional. No picture sleeve, just the regular paper sleeve. The USA release that we would buy if we went to the record store. That is this beautiful cover. Of course, the singles with her and Don Henley, the Eagles. I know you know that, but maybe some people don't. Some people just getting their Stevie Nicks, which I'm here to help. Auntie Anita's here. Nice that they add the picture of the album on the back. Single is just the regular single here. We have another interesting one. I've shown you, like, there's the Gold Band series and there's some other ones. Well, Atlantic Oldie series had begun releasing back-to-back hits. They didn't call it that. There's another record company that called them back-to-back hits. But Atlantic Oldie series probably came around in the 90s, I would guess. Late 80s, early 90s, to remind us of us people who were growing up in the 80s that were already starting to get old, and that a song that you loved is already 10 or 15 years old whenever they decided to put the record out. And they opted to put leather and lace back with "Stop Dragging My Heart Around." So that was just a unique record that would have come out quite a bit later. Not a promotional, just two hits. Also keeping the act of buying 45s alive, which I wouldn't say is starting to die down, but maybe it's starting to die down. Oh no, this is 81, so that probably didn't really start happening until about the late 80s, when 45s were kind of going by the wayside. The first really nice different one of my favorites, is the leather and lace different picture sleeve from the UK. A photo from this, again, a time for another story, but was my first photo that I collected of Stevie out of a magazine, which started the madness. I already had the records and such, but when I went by the way of scrapbooks, which, boy howdy, when we get into that's a lot to unpack there. But this photo is really, this photo session is extremely dear to my heart. And I just remember getting one out of a magazine and just being obsessed. The style, the look, just the vibe I got with the music. And I was already a fan, but I was completely sold. There's just no undoing it ever since then. So I was really happy to find a 45 with this picture. And it was used again in Spain. Slightly different. Very slightly. Same photo. Oh, interesting. I just said Spain, we weren't doing that anymore, but here we are back to that standard Spain. Interesting. So, UK and Spain. Spain has the little marks on the top that the other one doesn't, and then the backs are different. So for those small variants. But of course, if you have to have everything, that would be me. Of course you have to have this. Very different. Leather and lace backed with the Outside the Rain from Australia. Back to that small hole. No picture sleeve. Just the regular standard paper sleeve. When I bought this one, I was this one was 2015, so okay, that is kind of current. And I hadn't found a South African record in a long time. So the weirdo that I am was just so thrilled about it. I kept like all the stamps that the record came in and the card of where I'd purchased it from. But this was leather and lace backed with Kind of Woman. And it just came in a paper, didn't even come in a WIA paper sleeve, just a white paper sleeve with the record, small hole. This looks like it's been there, done that. Maybe possibly with this barcode here, this strange little barcode, it could have been at a library. Japan was very fond of that. When I get into 3-inch singles, way down the road from now, in Japan, they would, record stores and libraries would rent them out, like you check a book out. Which, I mean, libraries here, they'll, check out records and CDs. Records not so much anymore. But this just looks to me like an identifying strip that would have been something that was rented out or given to a radio station. Who knows? But again, these are always just very interesting. Where'd they come from? Where were they used? Things like that. And the last one to make this video short is a definitely, again, up there in my favorites. A very unique and unseen. We don't see too many of this from photo session. In fact, between my friends, it has been brought up recently as just a lot of us recall seeing this for the first time and being like, clutch the pearls. It's just such a beautiful photo. And we were thrilled to see it. As the collector that I am, I've really seen very few more from this session. And it was used on the cover of Smash Hits magazine in '81, which, for you old-timers, Smash Hits magazine was a magazine publication that came out with the lyrics of songs. Because back in the old days, we would stop our music, pick up our needles for the record, stop our cassettes or what have you, and try and write down what we thought we just heard. Good times. So, which is often probably why Japan would always put the lyrics on the back, and why most all standard LPs come with lyrics so that we don't have to do that. But yeah, so this photo was on this Japan release, on the cover for Smash Hits magazine, and we've seen a couple other places it's been used, but it is typically foreign material. There's very little United States magazines where I've seen this photo. Obviously, it was taken by Herbert Worthington in the United States, but it seems to me that it was licensed for more usage overseas. So, strange little fun fact there. And this one is a promotional one. So this is a white label. So I only have this copy as a promotional. I do not have the regular label one. So that wraps up Stop Dragging My Heart Around in Leather and Lace, which will make time for the next video, which will be relatively short as well. Will be Edges 17 and After the Glitter Fades. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for coming again today. We'll wrap up Stevie Nicks. We'll have some Lindsey Buckingham coming up with the solo endeavor he as well had in '81. And then I think we're going to get right into Mirage. So thank you for coming today, and we'll see you next time. Bye.